Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. And yeah, we're still in Scotland. And we are going to now explore a distillery that some nickname Willy Wonka's Distillery. And it could be said to be one of the most idiosyncratic distilleries in Scotland. Certainly enigmatic and at times beautiful. And a distillery I did not know a lot about. I'd seen its name pop up in reviews. I was drinking it when I drank my Valentine's. Not aware I was drinking it. And we have here the Gordon MacPhail 13-year-old Tormore presentation. Now, the reason I got this is because it's very hard to get a Tormore bottling, an actual house bottling. And we'll probably talk a little bit about that later, because we're probably going to be seeing more of the in-house bottlings now that it has changed ownership from Pernod Ricard to Elixir Distillers. And because I've done a presentation video, I'm not going to get too much into it. I could give you a very short history on it. The Earth was, I believe, turned sometime in late 1958. So it's not an old distillery. And some claim it was the first of the 20th century distilleries. And the construction finished in somewhere close to 1960. They started getting into production. It was basically Schenley that got it going when they bought out Long John's, because it was Long John's originally that started the distillery. And then Long John's was purchased by Whitbread. And there's some interesting history there. I'm not going to tell you more about it. It's in the video. But eventually Pernod Ricard got their hands on it. And it's just recently that Elixir Distillers have, in the last year, have taken over, in the last 2 years, I guess. So, and they want to see some of their own house bottlings and like to, refurbish it and get it back to where it is a prominent distillery, one that is well known in Scotland. It should be, because it's strikingly beautiful. So, let's get into this. Gordon MacPhail version, and I am going to show you both the bottle and the carton here, the case. The interesting thing that we find with these type of distilleries is sometimes this is the only way you're going to get a chance to taste the whiskey from these distilleries. So nice containers. I like what Gordon MacPhail what they package in. So there's their Tormore canister. What has it got on there? Basically 43%. That's quite common with Gordon and MacPhail. There's nothing here really. I think they usually are natural colored, but I am not seeing anything here on it. There, I'll mention it in the notes in the video. There's your bottle, and we'll just turn it around. Always a beautiful bottle with Gordon MacPhail Tormore Distillery, and I believe this is natural color at 43%. I'm pretty sure this is American ex-bourbon, first fill, if I understand. And we are, and make sure you can see it there, and we are going to get into having a pour. Now, this was a gift from my son, and it's interesting because I had mentioned to him once I started exploring this distillery, sometimes just by sheer accident, I get, going down a rabbit hole, and I came up with Tormore, and I started seeing pictures of the distillery. I was just fascinated with the actual architecture, and then I started reading on the history, and it was more fascinating, and I just went exploring Tormore, and then I just had to get a bottle of it, and I knew there was a bottle kicking around in one of my favorite liquor stores in Nanaimo, so I drove down that way, and my son gifted me this, so thank you, Dylan. He's given me so much whiskey through the years. I owe it to you. And you have You have got me on a journey and education into Scotch whiskey and a lot of other whiskeys too, Irish, etc., etc. Because he did buy me this guy here, the Irishman, the 17-year-old Irishman as well, when he bought this. So, anyways, let's open this up and let's give it a pour. I like that pop. And we'll bring it up and we'll look at the color and we'll let you see some legs. So we'll let this sit for, 20 minutes or so. It's 13 years old, so that should let it breathe. And you can watch the video. I think you'll find the video quite interesting. It's a fascinating story. It's a beautiful piece of architecture, that distillery. And we'll see you when you get back.
All but a few Scotch drinkers have heard of Tormore Distillery, but it is one of the most striking and intriguing pieces of distillery architecture in all of the British Isles. It was designed for Long John International in 1958 by the two iconic architects, Alexander Cullen and Sir Albert Richardson, and was in production by 1960. This was one of the first distilleries to be built in the 20th century, and is the youngest distillery to be a classified listed building in the British Isles. Long John was owned by Schenley and run by Louis Rosenstyle, who had a close association with the legendary mafia chief Meyer Lansky and Joseph Fusco. Tormore Distillery is in the central Speyside region on Highway A95, 1 kilometer south of the River Spey and Craigenmore Distillery. It is also 3 miles west of the famous and historic Ballindelloch Castle and Gardens. In 2022, Sunkinder and Ravijay Singh, owners of Elixir Distillers, purchased Tormore Distillery from Pernod Ricard, who had owned it since 2005. Tormore Distillery was built with granite, has a copper roof, and a clock which plays 4 different Scottish songs every quarter hour. The gardener clips the shrubs and trees into ornamental shapes of bells and whiskey stills. The rumor is that the new owners are finally going to open up a visitor center. Tormore Distillery has an 11-ton stainless steel full-loader mash tun that feeds the 11 washbacks that are 48,600 litres. It is unusual that they are in 3 different rooms, 4 next to the mash house and stills, 4 on top of the boiler house, and 3 skinny tall ones in the clock tower. In 1972, the distillery doubled the number of stills to 2 wash and 4 spirit stills. To make up for the short swan necks and lin arms, each still has an added copper-plated purifier, which helps to produce a light and fruity spirit. In the past, the majority of the Tormore whiskey was used for blends, so the majority of the casks were sent to the Pernod Ricard warehouses. This will change with the casks now being stored in the Tormore warehouses. Also, they will be adding a filling station, which had been removed. Tormore has been closed to the public, and Elixir Distillers are about to change that and open the doors of Tormore for the first time this century on May 4th, 2024.
Well, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed that very interesting video. And we are now gonna do the nose. So much. Oh, we got the vanilla and the lemon, maybe even a lemon lime, zesty, tangerines, malt. Lots of malt. Boy, I haven't had one of these for a while. Malty and some granola. Lots of apple, pear, even a bit of pineapple stuff going on. And it's got a good it's got a good nose. Not really detecting any sherry influence here. I'm not getting the dark fruits, the raisins and that. It's been mostly apples, pears, pineapple, and tangerines. And, slight bit of tobacco there. Tobacco notes there. I'd say more of a pipe tobacco. Very aromatic. Some floral stuff going on. And so on. I could just keep going on. Yeah, it's a nice nose. It's more of a bourbon influenced nose. So oak and bourbon. Let's do the palate. Salage. Light. And my understanding of this, they use purifiers on the stills. They're short lin arms and the necks are short, so they have purifiers on every still. And they have 8 stills. But this is a very it's a light, fruity. I would say when I was smelling the pineapple, definitely pineapple. I'm gonna say there is some berry stuff going on here. There are berries involved here, more like strawberries and pineapple, strawberries. Definitely the pears are there. Maybe some apricot and granola. Getting the granola. Bit of a coating on my mouth, not a heavy coating, but a lighter coating. And I'm getting a wee bit of the wood, just a bit of the wood, but nothing's really biting. There's no real bite to this drink. So I'm going to get right into the development and the finish. Slosh. Well, I'm pausing because I was grabbing something there that was unusual. Umami savory. And it might take me a bit here to identify what it was, but I'm going to stay with the fruit. And again, I'm going to say it's a shorter medium finish to this. It's coating my tongue, it's coating my mouth, but not like, some of my my sherry bombs and my sherry influenced ones. But it's 43%. I would say a little bit on the lighter side of a 43%, because I've had some heavier presentations, and this is medium to light. It's not watery. It's just a little on the lighter side. Boy, I want to get those umami notes. They're going to come to me. But I did have some biscuity stuff going on there, cereal notes. I've got it's even a bit of maple syrup happening here. And I'm gonna say that in the morning when you have your bacon and eggs, and you have a little bit of that, you throw the pepper on and maybe a slight bit of ketchup if you're a ketchup fan. That's what I was tasting. And something peppery with maybe just a bit of ketchup, but that's more the sour influence with the peppers. So there is some pepper stuff going on. It's a nutmeg. And I'm going to identify right now there is some cinnamon happening. So that's a start for the finish. We'll say that's a start for the finish. Let's get some water and see what happens. So what I have noticed with this, and I've had some heavier presentations lately, and this is a lighter presentation, I find. It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's over the top. So far it's been, it's an okay dram. But I don't want to put too much water in. It is a 43. But, I've had other like 40s, like Edrador and that had some heavier, I'd say heavier body than this. Even a Cragganmore. But they're different whiskeys, and we got to watch that. We get too critical on, a presentation that might be something unique about it. So I'm more cautious in my comments these days. With water, 43%, not too much water, hopefully. Let's find out what happens here. The nose with water. It definitely brought out the cinnamon. I'm really getting the cinnamon now. And some more spices. I would say more like the allspices. And we're definitely getting cereal notes. The biscuity stuff still there. Wee bit of the wood. And the zesty stuff for sure. All the zesty notes are there. And the strawberry. I'm going to go as far as to say even some raspberry stuff going on. Okay. With water, the palate. Boy, it really opened it up. And I didn't water it down too much. Now we're getting a lot of spice. We're getting the peppers, the nutmegs, the cinnamon, maybe a few ginger notes. Getting some tobacco in the background. And I'm actually getting some coffee notes now. Usually you get that with my sherry or wine influenced ones. So, but I don't think there's any of that influence. I think this is ex-bourbon. The pepper and the my pepper and ketchup breakfast eggs sunny side over. I think we've lost that. I don't think we have that one anymore. But the pepper's there. And it's not overly hot, but there is a lot of spices all of a sudden. The sweetness is there. So we do have the maple syrup has not disappeared. It's still there. And I got as good a coating on my mouth now as I've had, the whole time we've been doing the review. And I've added water. So I think it could be the oiliness of this drink is probably why. But, I added some water. I wasn't overwhelmed, but I wasn't underwhelmed. Now I've added some water, and now I'm interested again. Isn't it funny how something can change just by adding a little bit of water? I'm going to have this one for me. Well, what I'm going to say about Tormore, this is one presentation, and my first presentations. It's not what I call a unique whiskey. It's got a light body, and so does Glencaddam, but it's different. It's got a wee bit of Tomatul, but it's a little bit weaker than most of the Tomatuls I have. I haven't had the 40% Tomatul, but it's got a wee bit of Tomatul in it. But again, no sherry. It is a Speyside. It's a Speyside distillery, and it's well made. It's well balanced. It's an easy dram. It's going to be a dram that I think those of you getting into Scotch, and you've done a little bit of exploring, you've done your Glenlivets, your Glenfiddichs, and you've done your, maybe you've done your Macallums even. But this could be just making a slight right turn and just trying something a little different. And what I'm noticing when I said about the oil on that, I just noticed it had retaining oil on my tongue. And also, when I was talking about the zesty notes and that, there was a lot of different fruits, like the strawberries, the raspberries, etc., that came up. And everybody's palate is different. But this, so far, I think deserves about, I'm going to give it an 83. 83 or 84, I'll figure that one out, okay? So let's leave Tormore with an 83 to 84 score. That's the Gordon and MacPhail presentation. Well, I almost forgot to mention to you, this is a film because it goes back to 1963, and it's called The Story of Tormore. And the director is Alan Harper. And it really starts off with, a guide that's guiding a fellow that's fishing the Spey River that supposedly is one of the people that would be probably with Long John Distillery that are looking for a place to put a distillery. And it gets into him catching a fish and them celebrating with a dram of scotch. And I'm not going to tell you too much about it. It's quite an interesting film because it goes back and actually records the actual construction of Tormore. You also get a chance to see the actual beginning of producing whiskey in Tormore. And I just think it's a really fascinating piece of history because it captures that period of time, which we don't get with a lot of distilleries. Like, I'm talking the older distilleries. And we've got to remember, this goes back to 1958, 59, 1960. And there isn't a lot of recorded history on distilleries from even that period of time. So it's really worth watching. It's quite an interesting film. So again, it's called The Story of Tormore, and it is the National Library of Scotland. So if you just Google it, and just Google the National Library of Scotland Story of Tormore, or vice versa, and the director is Alan Harper, and I really think it is worth you watching. So, okay, on that note, I'm going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. Until the next time, so long.